withdrawal of its military mission in Somalia as from October 2018. According to the African Peace and Security Council, the two-year period between now and then would allow proper establishment of necessary facilities for the handover to the Somali forces. The details of the two-year schedule are contained in a revised concept of operations which the Council approved last week during its 608th meeting in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. This move means that AMISOM should start pulling out once the Horn of Africa nation has a new stable government. The concept of operations document was revised following complaints from Kenya that it lacked a clear coordination provision and that it did not indicate an exit strategy.
The date of, October 2018 has been floated, but you would understand that the implementation of such an exit, it's tentative, I should say, it's just indicative, if you like, would be contingent on a number of factors. First of all, the issue of security is primordial. The elections are being prepared as we speak for August, September, and AMISOM is working together with the Somali National Security Forces to ensure that they are able to provide maximum security to ensure the elections take place in an environment that is peaceful and conducive.
Well, let's talk to CCTV's Robert Nagila now about this possible withdrawal of African Union troops from Somalia. Robert, thank you. And the African Union's troop withdrawal from Somalia within a two-year timeline, is that a feasible timeline?
Well, Beatrice, that's the million-dollar question that everyone's asking at this particular moment. The people from troop contributing countries have basically been asking when the AU will come up with an exit strategy, and this is what the African Union has now put forward. However, it's dependent on a number of factors, primarily one, a credible election in September in Somalia, and two, resources. Now, the concept of operations document that you were just referring to is basically a mandate of the African Union's mission in Somalia. Now, this particular mandate, like you said, has been revised before, is what is now looking at this withdrawal. Now, when they say 2018, they don't necessarily mean that this withdrawal will happen immediately. We hit 2018 October, that's when it's proposed that they begin handing over. They give a two-year period. Now, in that two-year period, AMISOM is then supposed to hand over assets and facilities to the Somali National Army, because the hope is that the Somali National Army will then be stable enough and be able to provide enough security for the whole of the country. However, there's also one very, very important aspect within this particular document. It prioritizes the retaking of more territory from the militant group Al-Shabaab. So they're actually envisioning that by the time they get to that particular point, every single aspect of this program will be in place. They'll have taken most of the territory from Al-Shabaab and will be able to proceed with a well-coordinated handover.
Well, up until this point, though, Robert, AMISOM has been struggling to meet its budgetary allocations there. Can AMISOM, though, complete its capabilities or its responsibilities under those constraints? And
that's the big question here, Beatrice, because we've seen Uganda, and lately Kenya also threatened to pull out because of resources. We know that the European Union has already cut the budget that it used to give to AMISOM. We've had complaints from troops in Somalia, AMISOM troops, that they've not received their allowances and some even salaries. So these are some of the factors that need to be looked at. And if this withdrawal is going to happen in a well-coordinated and organized manner, then resources will be required, because there's also the question of assets. We know that Kenya, Ethiopia, and Uganda were to set up an aerial force, and they were to contribute aerial assets to this fight against Al-Shabaab. However, that has not happened. It's been affected by the lack of resources again. So resources is a very important aspect within this whole program. And if the resources are not enough, I'm afraid that this program won't work as envisioned by the African Union.